Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the first official live recording of what I like to call the Breadcast. I'm your host, Plateface, and welcome to today's episode. Now, you might be asking yourself, Plate, what is Breadcast? I've never heard of this before. And you're probably right to question what the heck this is and why I'm speaking more solitary and quietly, but I decided to do this. So let me explain. The Breadcast was an idea I've had cooking up in my head for about a year or so, about 2 years actually, think about it, where I would run a podcast. And originally it was supposed to have a guest, but, couldn't find anyone. So I decided instead to do it solo. I've seen a couple other people doing it solo, and I thought, why the heck not? Give it a try. I also decided that we need some video footage, so I'll be playing Minecraft throughout most of the stream today. I'll be occasionally checking to make sure it's recording because this is live recording, but aside from that, that's not much else to say. I figured Minecraft was a nice game to throw on in the background while we play. So, today's first episode is really just introducing everyone to the Breadcast. After all, it is a brand new stream idea. So, let me talk about the origins behind it. So, like I said, for a while now, I've been wanting to do a podcast just because podcasts are fun. I don't really watch them myself, but I understand they can be fun and relaxing. So, that was the plan. I will mostly be talking just about whatever I want live on stream because I don't know how to record properly. Leave it up to ignorance. But aside from that, I will be bringing up topics, and if anyone wishes to comment topics, I will be grateful to check them. This was a little rough start, but I hope to officially get this podcast, to a proper way by the time I figure everything out after I get everything properly set up. So, the name Breadcast is the first thing I want to talk about today's episode. So, you may think, well, Plate, that's a stupid name. Where did you get the name Breadcast from? Well, in case you haven't noticed, one common trait I am constantly doing on streams, or I guess not streams, it's more off of them, but one bit I am constantly doing is one about breadsticks. They are my favorite food of all time, for the most part. And, one joke I constantly like to bring up is Olive Garden breadsticks are by far the best, in my opinion, in terms of breadsticks. So I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if I merged the two ideas together, put breadsticks and podcast together? That's where the name Breadcast came from. And it's a name I'm probably going to stick with for a while now, in case I decide to do a rebrand. I don't know when that'll happen, but it might. Aside from that, I'm going to be a little more just real and mature with how I do the broadcasts. It's going to be more just casual, and I'm really struggling with this first one. I don't know what to talk about. I just want to get it introduced. But it's an idea I've wanted to do for a little while now. Just a fun little idea to talk about topics, just in general, find stuff to talk about. Anything really. Anything's fun and chill as long as I could think of something to say about it. So, the real first episode I wanted to talk about was my growth as a creator in general, because, this is a big step for me going from complete live content to now kind of doing recording content. I know this is still technically live as I'm recording it, but it's still something that is going to go up on YouTube. And I wanted to go over the growth of my channel just in general. And, I got to thank everyone. And truly, I thank everyone who's ever followed me on Twitch, subscribed to me on YouTube, heck, followed me on Twitter and Reddit. I gotta thank everyone. You're the people that make me keep wanting to do this, keep jumping on every week to stream. And I know I haven't streamed in a little while. That's mostly because I was prepping this up and, just a lot of life things got in the way, which is one reason I kind of go on hiatus so often is a life thing. But, it's been fun still streaming. And truthfully, I don't think I'm never going to not have fun streaming. I might get a little tired every once in a while, but as long as I take a quick break to just, you know, relax and get time out of the way, it will help me recover. And that's in some way why I'm doing the broadcast now. I figured this was a nice way to just pop on and talk about stuff constantly. Watch me suck at Minecraft because I'm not the best. And I won't always be playing Bed Wars. I will probably might occasionally be doing some other stuff. Maybe the occasional uh, building stream might pop on to survival, whatever that's the case. And the reason I figured Minecraft is the best game to play is because it's been such a major part of the channel. For those of you that have been here since the start, which, by the way, we are approaching the 2 year anniversary of my streaming career. So, hey, that's a big step for me. In general, I didn't think I could do this in the beginning, and here I am 2 years later. Small following that, for the most part, I think is dedicated, and it's really nice to have that following. So, for today, like I said, we're going to talk about my growth as a creator, and I wanted to mainly talk about how I've evolved and my eras. So, if you don't know, I've been through several eras of streaming. I've had the first era, which I call the Lost era, because truth be told, I didn't save anything from those. But it was the first few streams I played through in the early times when I first started streaming. It was Minecraft for the most part, occasional Roblox here and there. We did play through Super Paper Roblox, and that's what led into the clips. And admittedly, I now see the clips should have been full on shorts, but back when I was doing clips, shorts weren't a common thing, and it might have helped my channel grow, but it's fine. They were fun to do, and it was fun that people would clip them. And those did well for a little while. I didn't keep them going. In fact, around November of 2021 is when I stopped doing the clips. But still, it was fun to do them regardless. Record stupid stuff and post it on the internet or get people to clip because I'm honestly not good at this. I'll admit. You may ask a lot of questions. Play it. Why don't you just get an editor? Play it. Why don't you just get proper software? Despite being in the digital age, I'm not really good at this whole technology thing. I just buy whatever people tell me to buy if it's for technology, and editing software is confusing to me, and an editor, I don't make enough money to pay an editor, so I do this all on my own. That's one reason why I was so thankful that people did clip in general my streams and every content on them. So that was still great. But aside from that, uh, the next era, for the most part, was the man versus machine era. If you remember that era, that was when we played Team Fortress 2 for about a month. And then it was fun to record the man versus machine stuff. That was really nice. I really always kind of, since I started Team Fortress 2, kind of wanted to record man versus machine. And it was fun to finally go through the era of finishing that challenge that I had stuck. I guess more of an achievement. Stuck for nearly a couple of years. It was nice to get that done. And, Team Fortress 2 was a fun game, but I don't think I'll go back to it anytime soon. Pretty toxic environment. It's truly a nice game if you spend the time in it. And really, the community can be nice, but the community can also be one of the worst I've ever seen in gaming. And it's really hard for me to choose. I still love Team Fortress 2, and I would love to stream it again if I believed that I could properly, feel comfortable playing it, but I just can't. So for the most part, I just won't be playing Team Fortress 2. But the Man vs. Machine stuff was still incredibly fun to stream, and I'm grateful that I have proof of it on YouTube. There's a lot of stuff I'm grateful with. Then that brings us to the Fusionfall era, which many found my channel through. And, the reason I even did that is because I got to thinking, there's a couple of playthroughs of Fusionfall on YouTube, but not a lot. And the truth is, Fusionfall is always going to be a big part of my life. I grew up with the game. It was a big part of my childhood and writing career in general. I think it's through me making stupid Fusionfall concepts throughout elementary school and middle school that really helped me get to where I am today with my ideas, which I don't ever tell anyone on the stream, mainly because I worry about, the DMCAs and, well, not DMCAs, I guess it's more NDAs. I don't really want to command a whole bunch of nobodies into a DMCA. But, aside from that, the Fusionfall era, for the most part, was fun. But I do want to gratefully apologize for my behavior in the stream back so long ago when I did the Mac Nano video. I will admit I did have a bit of anger issues back then. I've since worked a little better on them. And truthfully, the reason I acted so angry in a lot of those older Fusionfall streams is because I was still living in the retro days, man. After Fusionfall shut down in 2020, I just sort of left the community for a while, worked on my own in the background, and never really got the motivation to go back to Fusionfall until that point. People told me about Retribution and Open Fusion, and I always thought there's no way they're gonna succeed and they're gonna fail at some point. But I gave them a try and they're fun. And granted, it took me a year to finally realize that. I I've since kind of lost all of my old views on Retribution in favor of just liking it again. It's Fusionfall after all. I should always like it. But aside from that, the only well, I don't know what else to say. Oh, right, the nano videos. Those were fun to do because I always wanted to do those as a kid. So it was fun to record those and put those up. And that is probably my favorite thing that I've done through the Fusionfall era and just in my channel in general was the Fusionfall stuff. That was probably the most fun I had streaming. Now, granted, I did take a long hiatus after it, but that's just life got in the way. That brings us to what I call the Undertale slash 1 month return, where I hyped up that I was coming back, which, oof, that was not worthy of the hype. Admittedly, I had a whole summer to come back, and I waited until the very last month of my time to come back. So my fault on that part. But I had fun, and I still have the videos from that time. And then that comes to now when I finished up Fusionfall and I started the Breadcast. And I hope the Breadcast can be a new era of Playface in the channel. And the reason I'm doing this in the first place is to give an audience, the people who actually do strangely watch me. I don't know what you get, why you people do that, but I thank you for doing it. Thank you all. And I give them some video. So these broadcast episodes, don't ever expect them to go long. If anything, these are going to be shorts. For all I know, this one is going to only go 30 minutes. Depends on how I feel today. But they're never going to be long episodes. I'm not going to do like a 3 hour stream like I would normally do. These are just short discussion streams, but recorded. And if you haven't noticed already, I am basically recording. The sound is off. I've turned every Minecraft sound off, so I kind of had to do a little more work because oof, had a couple trouble with the in-game sounds. It's still playing in my end for the most part. This is just due to my lack of recording. And, hopefully, if this takes off, I can find a way to properly record myself, and that way I don't have to do this. A lot of people, when I said I was starting this podcast idea, said, shouldn't you be recording this? And I said, yeah, but you know what? It's nice. And, it is really hard to do a podcast solo. I recognize that. My favorite podcast, the one I personally watch constantly, the Chuckle Sandwich, they had three hosts and now they're on to two, but they still do pretty good with two. But I've seen a couple with just one person, and they do pretty well. I also did this mainly because I can just get real with people. That's really what I want. You see, when I'm streaming in YouTube, I really do put on a persona of played face. I pretend from the void and I play my whole origin story and all that. But when I'm doing these, I'm going to be a little more real and down to earth so you can get to know me better and I can help with issues. Because the truth is, I care about the community that I have created as much and hopefully as much as they care for me. So, I try to be real and welcoming. And that's one reason I do these to get real and welcoming. So I can hopefully be, just more in tune with the community. That's why I do encourage we talk about stuff on the streams, or people give me answers in chat that I will then possibly answer next episode. Don't ever expect me to answer them in the episode I am currently doing. I forgot to hide the chat. That was my plan since these are going up on YouTube. But yeah, simple stream. I didn't think too much on it. It was the first one, and to be honest, even though I had planned this for a couple days, I was kind of rushed in doing it today. Originally, the plan was that I would have a guest on today, and I want to talk about guests. My hope is to get guests in the future. Not big guests. Don't expect me to get like big time celebrities and stuff like that on. I don't think I can be the next Joe Rogan podcast, but at the very least, talking to friends or people in communities I'm in, specifically the guests I were going to get. And I'm just going to say it because we've all planned it out. The next Breadcast stream, expect to see uh, Mystical Gaming and just Mystical Gaming, the head developer of the Restart project from Fusionfall. He asked if you want to do an interview, and I figured why not start the broadcast around the same time. Originally, the interview was going to be its own stream, but I just sort of had the motivation to start the broadcast, and here we are. So, like I said, we'll be talking about issues in most episodes, or just stuff I find interesting to talk about. So for this one, I don't really have much other than just to introduce you, but I do want to talk about something that I've recently been into, and that's the idea of nostalgia. Now, we all have it. Nostalgia is a constant. You are not immune to nostalgia. Everybody grew up with something. Everyone has fond memories of something. We're always going to have it. And for the last week or so, I've been pretty heavy into the nostalgia train. I've been watching a lot of those YouTube compilations where they talk about the 2010s era, and that was really, my era of enjoyment and the time I grew up with, 2000s to 2010s was my childhood. And one thing that shaped it that I've recently finally gotten back into after a long time was the Skylanders series. Now I know it's kind of a joke series nowadays. Haha, that Activision series that basically killed itself through over profiting, but and for years I was with those people. I was thinking, ha, stupid Skylanders, who's ever gonna like this in 10 years? And I found out there were still people that enjoy the Skylanders, and it kind of was nice. I grew up with them. I still have every single figure I had when I was a kid. So it was nice to get back into the series. And not only that, but I've been, just looking back at my old art and stuff. In case you don't know, I do art. Hopefully I can do more of it soon. I'm working on a possible commission stuff in the background, and we'll have to see where that goes. But looking back at my old art and seeing my evolution was really, nice. It was fun to see where I started with such humble beginnings, where I barely drew arms and everything was, stupid. But I've grown and evolved in a way that I feel like I finally honed my style. Aside from that, television just in general, I think we all have sentimental connections to at least one or two shows. Ben 10 definitely one of mine. Watching a lot of that, mainly through reviews and stuff like that. I just been in a nostalgic mood, and I figured we should talk about that on the podcast. And you know, the idea of nostalgia is something very important that I don't think people really give enough credit to. Truthfully, I think it's the truth. To be fair, I think we all just sort of try to ignore it, but how fitting in the game. The Minecraft music came on. But I think we should all just enjoy the nostalgia. The world is a really bad place right now. I don't think it's hard to admit we are in a very driven time, but sometimes it's nice to just delve back into when it was better. And the truth is, nostalgia helps us. Now, you may say that as a coping mechanism, but when you look outside and see the world we're stuck living in, maybe it is best that we just sort of curl into those little balls. Boot up that old Nintendo DS, boot up that Wii, play a few rounds of Pokemon Black and White. Stuff that makes us happy. So yeah, that's one topic I really wanted to discuss on the podcast, is it's been really big in my eyes, or not my eyes, my mind lately. Just delving into the world of nostalgia, and I'd like to talk more about it, but I feel that's more fitting of its own episode. Aside from that, I don't know what else to say for this episode. Again, short one, but I do kind of want to at least hit that 30-minute mark so that we don't have the shortest episode of all. But I also want to talk about the future of this channel, Plateface in general. This episode, as I said, I want to delve into everything I've done and everything I'm working up to being. So, in case you don't know, because I don't really make it clear, but I am an artist in the works, at least. I do art on the side for fun, not for profit. I don't think I've ever made a profit off one of my artworks. But I'm not perfect, and I know I'm not perfect. I know I have a lot of work I need to do before I can be perfect. but there is no such thing as perfect. Let me say that out loud. There is no such thing as perfect. You can only get as good as you're gonna get, and that's all we can ask of you. And to those of you out there that want to be artists, but say you're no good, practice and just doing it every day. That's one thing I've heard. Now, I admittedly don't live up to that standard. I don't really do it every day due to my mental, not my mental state. I guess it's more my diagnosis is I do have trouble focusing. So sitting down and properly doing art is one of the hardest things for me to do. But, if you want to be an artist, do it. And that is one thing I want to eventually evolve either over into my streams or, my videos. I generally do want to delve into the world of art and possibly do a series. I have a couple series ideas. None of you have ever heard them, but they rattle around in my brain. They rattle around very much in my brain. But one thing I want to do with them is possibly start a YouTube series. Now, I think YouTube has the pure freedom to, well, do streams more frequently. You got freedom to do them. Mainly because if you're on a studio and a schedule, you got that, a schedule. If you're on a studio compared to YouTube and streaming. And, our streams are something I've wanted to do in the past, but I just don't have the software. But I've been looking for how to get the software to do streams, and hopefully soon I can do those. But the plan for the future of this channel is definitely somewhere in the animation direction. And that is the hopes. If you don't know, my YouTube handle or underneath my description has always been hopeful animator is I have hopeful optimism of the future. I know I'm stupid. It's hard to have optimism in this day and age, but if you just look at the positive, sometimes it's nice. And that is the planned future, for me at least, an optimistic one. Now, I can't be certain that's what's going to happen, but at the very least, I can try to enjoy the time I have to practice. And I'm doing that now. So hopefully soon art streams can happen. Now you may be asking, whatever happened to the Stardew stuff? You were doing those for a long time, and I can promise you, they will return. I cannot say when, but I'm not done with Stardew Valley. But here's the thing, guys. Whenever I do Stardew, it is kind of hard for me to start. Now, as you know, every time I start the Stardew streams, I can't put them down, but it's really hard for me to properly stop Stardew when I get started. Truthfully, I just have too much fun playing it when I get into the game, like enjoying the farming aesthetic of it and the whole everything about Stardew. It's just fun when you get into the game. But that is my plan, is they will return, hopefully in a better state, I should say, when I'm able to do them more frequently. As of right now, not really able to do them as I'm doing this now, and well, let's just say I'm just not in the mood to play Stardew. Similarly, the Fusionfall stuff, it is not over. Like I hinted at the end of my Nano video, we're not done with the Fusionfall stuff. I will be doing more Nano videos. I will be jumping into the Academy, and we will be playing Academy missions. We will be doing Nano missions, as I really do want to record every single Nano in the game, and we just have a large selection left. And unfortunately, if you didn't know, I mentioned it in my previous Fusion Falls stream, or I guess I should say my last one, where we went into the beta content and all that. The microphone, the internal one on my other computer, has broken. So I can't record anything. We did the test stream about a week or two ago, where I got a bunch of people to come in and test, and nothing happens. No sound was picked up. I talked a bunch. I did some clapping exercises, but both on Streamlabs and on the stream, nothing picked up. And you may ask, why don't I just record on this computer that I'm playing and recording on right now? Well, I've tried. And if you were here back when I first got this new computer last summer, I tried playing Roblox on it, and nothing worked. Nothing was working. It just was so glitchy. It was a glitchy mess, and only occasionally did I pick some stuff up. And, I tried a Fusion Full stream with that about a month ago, maybe 2 months at this point, I don't remember. But it didn't work, and it's such a shame because this is a really good computer for what it's worth. But if I can't record properly, then I can't use it. So that's why I've been recording all my Fusion Full stuff on the other computer. Hopefully, in the present future, I can get it fixed and, I can properly record since I don't want to leave you guys off. The nano videos have been so fun to make and they've been doing so well. Mainly that's because I know where to put them for them to do well. And the truth is, I don't really want to constantly make Fusionfall videos. Back when I was 10, I probably would have said, oh, heck yeah, I want to do Fusionfall for a living. Well, the truth is, I've grown, and, well, I can't be the young, optimistic kid I was back when I was 10 years old. I can't ignore that there's some problems in the Fusionfall community, some toxicity, some theft, some stuff that just really makes me sad to be a part of it. So that's why I really don't want to do it all the time. I do want it to be a part of my channel, and the truth is, I always want Fusionfall to be relevant. I want Fusionfall to go back to what it was back in 2009 when it was big and around. But for now, yeah, I just need time, and that's really the truth here. I need time. In case you didn't know, when I first started streaming, I streamed for probably 7 to 9 months straight, from June of 2021 to March of 2022. I streamed every month, not every day, but I kept my schedule. I streamed every month. And, I got tired midway through. I had to cancel some streams then. And I've been doing that lately, mainly just because I want days when I just don't have to do anything. And it's not that I don't like streaming, it's just I'm a very easily tired person. I get tired incredibly easy. And I feel if I do something too much, I burn myself out and I have to do something more. I think we all suffer from that. And streamer burnout, I guess you could say, is definitely something I suffer from incredibly. Like, in case you didn't know, I really didn't stream for 2 weeks. Yeah, basically. I didn't stream a single time up until this video. The last real stream I did was deleted, but I kept the VODs of it. I kept recordings from it because that's how long I've been gone. It was some serious fatigue, and I needed to recover from it. These breadcasts will hopefully be a nice, simple way to do a pop-in stream. Now, I won't say these are a monthly thing. I'll be honest, I'll do breadcasts when I feel like it. If this is something you like, then, well, and I'll let you all know in advance. I will always prepare to notify people when these go up. But, for now, I have no plans for the broadcast in the future. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I don't have plans for many episodes for the remaining time I have pure freedom, but I do have a couple. Like I said, we got the first guest coming on the podcast in a week from now, I hopefully hope. I hopefully hope that's not a word. Yeah. In case you guys haven't noticed, I'm really bad at public speaking and stuff like this. Getting real is something I'm hard with, but sometimes you need to get a little real. And again, if you guys have questions you want to send in through comments or Twitch chat, you can just do that. You can just do that whenever you want. I don't mind. Just do whatever you want, and I will hope to answer them. Also, I want people to know that they're safe here, like, sincerely. I try to keep my audience safe all the time. I try to make sure everyone is safe and secure and happy with their lives, because truth is, despite my shyness and problems talking in public, I do see myself as a bit of an entertainer. And I want to entertain people. I don't want them to be sad or the reason they don't want to keep going. I want them to be happy. I try to make sure everyone who comes here is welcome. And that's really why I'm going to do these now. I've said that a lot. I'm just really trying to hit that limit. It's episode 1. I don't really have much to talk about. Again, issues will come up in the coming weeks that'll make me do these. So I do also want to talk about the schedule changes that should be coming up soon. I'm not sure, about a week, 3 weeks or so, my schedule is going to change again. So streams are going to become secondary priority. So expect long breaks between each of them and expect broadcasts in their place. And they will just go straight to YouTube. I will pop on and record them on Twitch. They will immediately go to YouTube. So, yeah. As for the future of the broadcast itself, I hope to get some layouts and stuff like that. In case you don't know, I want to properly get some. What's the saying? An overlay. That's it. I want to get a proper overlay for this, for both the stream and I don't know how to set that up. but definitely for YouTube, like a thumbnail and titles. I will hopefully be able to get access to Photoshop again so that I can write them down, or I guess draw them. I do want to start implementing my art into stuff. So yeah. Another thing behind the broadcast is, and this is a very specific niche, but I want something for people to fall asleep to. Now, the truth is, I feel like podcasts are just a thing you throw on in the background and tune out. I know I do that. The point of a podcast is it's supposed to be audio, and that's the point of it. You just listen to people talk. I didn't used to do that with Chuckle Sandwich, but in recent days, I've sort of just left them on as I talk about other stuff. And I want to be something people fall asleep to because I myself sometimes fall asleep to occasionally a podcast. I will occasionally throw episodes of Chuckle Sandwich and another one I watched called the Transformer Slug podcast. I'm not going to say its proper name because that word is a very. I'm not going to get into that, but I sometimes throw on episodes of his old episodes just to listen to old Transformer news back when it was in the day. I also like to think this podcast is a hybrid between a podcast and something another YouTuber did. I don't know if many of you have heard of Jay Schlatt. I know he's a pretty big name. It's a pretty interesting name in streaming, but he did do a series back in the day called The Weekly Slap. And those are some really nice episodes when he would just sit down and get real. And that's the point of this podcast. The goals of it are to be somewhat of a catch up on current events relating to me, fandoms I'm in, and stuff to talk about. So don't expect me to not get a little opinionated in these. I will be keeping as unbiased as possible. But keep up with events, both me and communities I'm in. I'm in a lot, so trust me, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff on this. Be a safe place for people to come and just talk out issues, and I will give my best opinion. I shouldn't say I'm the best for this. I do have somewhat of a background in psychology and helping people out. So if you guys have serious problems and you need someone to talk to about it, I am here to try to delve into your issues, get down and be serious, and lastly, just sort of be something people can fall asleep to. Let's go with that. It's a weird couple of goals, but you know, in some way, you need something for a podcast. You can't just go in mindlessly. If I had to categorize this, I'd probably say that it is up as a discussion. I don't know if there's themings to podcasts. I know there's comedy podcasts, and Chuckle Sandwich I watch is one. Just informational. And, I just thought about this. I might try to upload these on Spotify now. I actually don't have a Spotify. I know, a man or just anybody in 2023 not having Spotify? That's crazy. To be fair, I listen to my music on YouTube, and, I'm not really much of an actual songs guy. I listen to video game soundtracks and the occasional postmodern jukebox, but I don't really listen to real songs, so that's why Spotify has not been something I've gone onto. But possibly to get a big, broader audience, and admittedly, I am still thinking about that, but you know, this could be a way to be bigger and get a more welcoming community, but who knows? Who knows? I'll have to wait and see how I feel either at the end of this episode in a couple. I think I just need to record a couple. Another thing you may notice is I'm trying to talk more quietly and solemnly because that's how I feel podcasts should be, especially one where I'm being more realistic. And I have not paid attention to the gameplay once. It's really hard not to at some points, but considering I am recording these live and I am playing this, it is very much me trying to ignore what I'm doing, all the failures I do in the game. As you can see on the screen right now, I am messing up this parkour, but I can't acknowledge that, aside from occasional. And that's because I want this to feel like it is a proper podcast. I just limited by the technology of my time, as we will say. But another fun fact about this whole broadcast idea that I want to bring up is back in 2020, when I was considering starting, during the whole pandemic, when everyone else was starting their streaming careers and all that, the idea popped up in my head to do a sort of relaxing realist streams. Realist, I say. More like get down and just talk streams. Just chatting, but with gameplay in the background. Because let's admit, your attention span, all of our attention spans are limited. I should know. I have ADHD. I am the king of not having a strong attention span. But I wanted to do something what I called chill Arsenal streams, where I would hop on Roblox Arsenal and not take it seriously. Just, pop on, play some gameplay, just have some fun, talk to chat. I called them late night because I was going to do these when it was 3 in the morning for me, mainly because you feel you feel different at 3 in the morning. I think we all do. Well, not me. 3 in the morning is now my usual staying up time. I admit my sleep schedule is horrible. I have some horrible insomnia right now. But, we all just we all have a change when we're up for a long period of time and we get tired and stuff is funnier. We feel more human. Pure humanity is what comes out of us at 3 a.m., I guess you could say. And that's what I want to that's why I wanted to do the Arsenal streams, because I feel I'd be more relaxed and chill and just able to talk more and be me more. And, that was the plan. But, you know, I've had some problems with Arsenal in the past. Recently, I've had a problem with Arsenal. And as I've stated, I can't record Roblox because I generally did think when I was starting this, some Arsenal gameplay might be fun, but I figured Minecraft Hypixel and just Minecraft in general. And in some way, I think we all enjoy Minecraft a little bit. So, you know, besides, a lot of people just do discussion videos. How many commentary YouTubers do you watch that just throw on some Minecraft gameplay and talk about stuff? And I guess you could say I'm that now, but I don't have pictures to throw up and talk about current events. To be clear, I will not be talking about anything majorly controversial unless I am unable to get out of it. And the truth is, I try to stay out of a lot of controversial stuff. I don't get involved in all the drama and whenever someone's getting canceled on Twitter. I like to think the biggest controversy I was in recently was the Rise of the Beasts Wheeljack debate. I think that was the biggest one I was in, and how I didn't care what Wheeljack looked like because I grew up with the Bayverse, and I'm used to Transformers looking nothing like they did in G1. Because I'm sorry, folks, it's not the '80s anymore. It's time for the blocky designs to be retired, and it's time to move on. But that's a discussion for another time, another podcast. And oh boy, I generally will plan to do a Rise of the Beast review podcast coming up. That might be episode 2, since I did just see the film, but I'm not going to say anything about it. I will probably possibly wait till the film's, been out for a while and anyone who wants to see it has seen it. I won't be doing film reviews all the time, but, film is definitely something I am involved in, so expect me to talk about it, and possibly game reviews. I'm gonna I'm not gonna say I'm gonna, but I have the idea of a sub-series of this called What Blank, where I talk about a game or series I like. And for example, we've been playing it, so example here is Fusionfall. What a game. That's an example of what I mean by it, where I go into the game and talk about it. I would probably start that with Rise of the Beasts. I would say Rise of the Beasts. What a film. In a purely optimistic standpoint, probably we'll talk about negatives and positives of everything. If people want me to review a certain object, or I say object like they're objects, a certain game or something, my only rules are that I've had to played it or have a decent experience in it. So, let's say someone asks me to review Helltaker. That's just an example that came to my mind. Well, I've never played Helltaker. I have seen a playthrough of it, and I've done my research on it. A better one would be something like, let's say, Amphibia, What a Show. I have seen Amphibia multiple times, so I can do a proper review of it. But all I need is a basic understanding of what I'm doing, and I probably won't rate. I don't want to say I'm a critic. I definitely don't want to say I'm a critic after what the critics did to Rise of the Beasts. By the way, Rotten Tomatoes sucks. Stop listening to Rotten Tomatoes. Bunch of idiots. But yeah, that's plans. So the bright side about this is I do have plans for the future of podcasts. So yeah, like I said, guests hopefully to come on. The first few might just be a bunch of Fusionfall stars, as I've been trying to do for a couple weeks now. Get an interview with the one and only Prizified, the writer of Fusionfall Retro, currently working on the indie game Plunder Panic, and writer of Shovelware Brain Games. Hey, that might be a game for What a Games. But, yeah. So I see we've reached nearly 40 minutes, and I think this was a fun starting episode. Not too long. We talked about some stuff. We've talked about the beauty of nostalgia, the future and evolution of my channel, and Millie, that is a little egotistical, but hey, I needed something to talk about in the first episode. Like, what are you going to talk about in the first episode? I can only explain the basics, what I do. Admittedly, it was really hard to start this episode because I've never just gone into a stream just heads in. Like, I immediately started talking. I had to unplug the mouse midway through just so I could go get it up on the other monitor. So that's something that happened. But yeah, so let's start the ending of the podcast, shall we? So, if you ever want me to talk about, well, let me do this officially. Thank you for coming to this first and debuted episode of the Breadcast. I hope you enjoyed. I stutter a lot. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope this was good enough of a first episode to keep you invested for the long run. Let's say that. If there is anything you want me to talk about in a future episode, please comment it down below at the bottom of the video. And if you're here for the live recordings, record it on Twitch or send it in the Twitch chat. I will review them. And if you don't feel like that and you want to come to me other ways, you can reach me on Twitter, Plateface at Plateface4 _. It should be in the description of my YouTube video most of the time. And also, if you would like to, also I'm available on Discord. Let me say that. And I do say Reddit, but don't really respond to Reddit DMs that much. If I do, I just try to get them done and immediately over with. But I'm more willing to talk on the other apps. So Plateface4 on Twitter, Plateface on Discord. That might change. Well, username nonsense. Topic for another time. But yeah, if you have episodes you want me to talk about in the future, just let me know and we will talk about them. So yeah, I will send you on your merry way. I hope you have a good morning, day, night, whatever it is for you. Have a good life. And if this is the first time you found me, thanks for coming. If this is the last time you want to see me, thank you for coming. And I will see you all in the next episode of the Breadcast. So later, skaters.